You ever wake up one morning and realize that karma has a sense of humor? No, I mean it. One day you're standing knee-deep in mud staring at what used to be your own slice of paradise, and the next the universe is serving up a front row seat to the dumbest disaster you could imagine. That's how my little corner of the world turned into ground zero for the kind of justice you only see in movies or nightmares. My name's Thomas Harris, environmental consultant by trade, professional thorn in the side of developers if you want to get specific. I spent decades telling people, don't build there, don't pave this, you can't just run a road through a wetland and expect it to end well. Turns out even after 25 years, you can still be surprised mostly by just how thick someone's skull can get. When I bought my property, I was chasing quiet. 60 acres of sky and water frogs louder than traffic winds sliding through the reeds like a secret. My own sanctuary where the earth breathed easy and so did I. I knew every twist of the marsh, every shift in the light. Didn't want neighbors, didn't want community events. Just wanted peace. And for a while I had it. The neighborhood next door, Willow Bend Estates, kept to itself. Teachers, retirees, people who'd wave when they drove by but never wandered down my dirt road. They knew my land wasn't part of their homeowners association. Or most did anyway. Until the day Natalie Adams showed up with her big plans and her even bigger smile. Now, if you've never met a force of nature in a pantsuit, count yourself lucky. Natalie swept into the HOA presidency like a campaign ad that wouldn't end. Real estate background. Saw empty space and thought opportunity. Her idea of progress was concrete and curb appeal. If she could see it, she wanted to pave it. First meeting I attended, she laid it out plain. Imagine a beautiful community access road, she said, gesturing toward my wetlands like she was unveiling a new target. A shortcut straight through what she called underutilized land. Folks nodded, whispered, how convenient. Meanwhile, I was in the back thinking about all the laws, all the years that protected marsh had stood its ground against storms, against time, and now against Natalie's slideshow. After the meeting, I tried to reason with her. Explained the Clean Water Act, showed her the conservation maps. That's not just soggy land, I said. That's a living sponge. Flood control, wildlife habitat, the works. She gave me this look, the kind of smile that makes you want to check your wallet. It's just a little wet patch, Thomas. Some gravel and a culvert will fix it right up. I should have known then she wasn't dropping it. At first it was little things, letters in my mailbox. Notice of violation. My reeds were too tall, apparently. Water too stagnant. Mosquito hazard, like I was supposed to chlorinate a wetland. Next fines started showing up. $100 here, $250 there, then $500 for repeat offense. I sent back maps, environmental surveys, every permit I owned, like I was teaching a course she never wanted to take. Didn't matter. 2 weeks later, there's a special HOA meeting. Infrastructure improvement, she called it. The donuts were free, so everyone showed. Natalie up front with a PowerPoint again, pitching the road as a lifesaver. Better access, emergency vehicles, property values. And when I stood up to say, that's private land, she just shrugged. HOA records show an easement. Hand to God, she almost winked at me. No easement, I said. Had the county deed in hand, survey maps, original certification. She held up her own folder full of copies, updated records. We went back and forth until someone called a vote. Hands up mostly from folks she'd promised something. Just like that, it was done. Democracy in action, she said, all proud. Never mind, it was illegal. That night I sat in my kitchen, paperwork scattered everywhere, feeling the kind of dread that sinks into your bones. I could see where this was heading. Letters, meetings, fines, all building up so when the bulldozers rolled in, no one would blink. Once neighbors saw machines moving, they'd just assume everything was above board. Sure enough, a couple days later, my old neighbor Bill knocked at the door. Bill's the kind of guy you want on your side in a storm, hard shell, soft heart. He led me down the muddy trail to the edge of my property. They were out here this morning, he said, pointing at fresh orange survey stakes. Said they've got new plans. Pulled up your old markers. His boots squelched in the mud as he spat. Didn't say who authorized it, just laughed when I asked. I stared at those stakes, thinking about my dad showing me the property lines when I was a kid. 40 years ago. Now they were just plastic and lies flashing in the sunlight. All right, I said to Bill, my voice tighter than I wanted. If Natalie wants a road, she's about to meet the world of paperwork. He grinned. You're going to make it ugly, huh? No, I said, grabbing my camera bag. I'm going to make it legal. He laughed. Same thing to her. From that night on, I documented everything. Set up trail cams, photographed every stake, and letter-mapped GPS points. I knew it had turned into a fight, and I was ready to let nature throw the first punch. Weeks passed, more letters, bigger fines. Every violation got more creative. Failure to maintain visual uniformity, $750. Janet from the HOA called cheery as ever. "It's just a new boundary survey, Mr. Harris." I laughed, dry, bitter. She talked about it with my mailbox, not with me. Hung up. So I started filing complaints. County zoning, state EPA, Army Corps attached every photo, every timestamp. If Natalie wanted to play this game, she was going to need more than HOA votes. Flyers showed up next, cartoons of me in a fishing hat, neighbors frowning in traffic, the whole 9 yards. One man's swamp is everyone's problem. She was good. Had people calling me the obstructionist like I was blocking ambulances or something. I showed up at the next meeting. Packed room, people crowding around cookie trays, Natalie in her element. She ran through her presentation, property values, safety, flashing a map with a big red line straight through my land. When I stood up, she played it cool. "Thomas is graciously hosting our road project." "Hosting," I said. "You're trespassing." She brushed it off, told the crowd not to worry. "Our engineers have approved everything." I glanced at the 2 contractors in the back, her husband's friends from what I'd heard. "Not environmental engineers," I said. "They're paid to build, not protect." But Natalie didn't care. "Progress requires sacrifice," she said, like she was quoting a cereal box. When it came time to vote again, hands shot up, mostly from her supporters. And with a bang of her little gavel, it was done. Next morning, the bulldozers showed up. Neon vests everywhere, engines roaring, Natalie and her husband watching from the sidelines. I marched right up, boots sinking in the wet earth. "Get off my property." The foreman pointed to Natalie. She says, "Talk to her." She waved a paper easement authority, full of typos, no official signatures. "This isn't legal," I said. "Maybe not to you, but the community voted," she chirped. "Can't stop progress." My heart was pounding. "You have no jurisdiction. This isn't your playground." "Then sue me," she shrugged, walking away. So I started. Called up Evelyn, an old friend and the best environmental lawyer I knew. Told her everything. She was quiet, then said, "File for an injunction. Keep documenting." The government moves slow, but when it acts hard. The days that followed were chaos. More construction, more trees torn up the embankment, growing higher every day. My land started to flood just like I warned. The new road blocked the natural outflow. I measured the water level, took photos, logged every inch. At night, I wrote it all down. Day 1 drainage blocked, expect water rise. Truthfully, I started to doubt I could stop it. Felt like screaming into a void. And then it rained. First just a drizzle, then a downpour. The sky turned green, the color you never want to see in the south. Water started pooling on the wrong side of the road, rising inch by inch. I watched from my porch as the culverts filled, then overflowed. Within hours, my marsh was a lake, and the water had nowhere to go but out straight toward the neighborhood. The HOA held a barbecue on the new asphalt, music playing, banners waving. Natalie even invited me. "Thomas, care to toast progress?" I smiled, raised my cup. "Just remember, every dam breaks eventually." She blinked, then turned away, laughter echoing behind her. That night, the rain didn't stop. I kept measuring. Up 6 inches by midnight, a foot by morning. Neighbors started complaining in the group chat. Flooded yards, storm drains bubbling over. Natalie posted minor runoff, all under control. Trust the process. The process. She meant the 2 culverts her husband put in after I pointed out the blocked waterway. Only problem, they were 3 feet too high. Water doesn't run uphill. I posted back, "Water doesn't negotiate, Natalie. It remembers." 10 minutes later, my comment was deleted. Got banned from the forum too. Typical. The real trouble came that evening. Deputy Harris County Sheriff's Office showed up at my door, raincoat dripping, flashlight in hand. "HOA wants you to open your drainage channels," he said. "Says you might save a few homes." I looked at him, water swirling around my boots. "Deputy, if I open it now, all that pressure hits at once. The asphalt will hit like a tsunami." He hesitated, then nodded, jogged off to warn people. 10 o'clock that night it happened. Lightning cracked, thunder rolled, and then a sound like the earth itself splitting. The new road buckled, then fractured wide open. Water exploded through the breach, tearing up asphalt like tissue paper. The flood raced downhill through the streets, over lawns, cars spinning in the current. Alarms blared, people shouted. I watched it all from my window, heart pounding. By dawn, Willow Bend was underwater. Houses half submerged, cars, floating fences, and mailboxes swept away. Natalie's fancy community highway was gone, ripped to shreds, chunks of asphalt lodged in tree branches. When the rescuers finally made it in, Natalie was sitting on my porch blanket around her shoulders, mascara running. She didn't say much, just stared at the wreckage. Reporters showed up, news vans everywhere. What happened, they asked. I told them the truth. They built a highway through a wetland, ignored every warning. Nature just collected her debt. The aftermath was ugly. Investigators' lawsuits, headlines, HOA highway causes catastrophic flood. Natalie tried to spin the story, said her husband handled the permits, said the storm was unprecedented. The evidence didn't care. The fines over $1 million. Insurance refused to pay out. Board members turned on each other, shouting, resigning, spray painting. Nature won on her garage. When the judge finally ruled, the punishment was, well, lighter than I'd have liked, but heavy enough for her. Probation, community service, restitution, barred from running any association for a decade. When our eyes met across that courtroom, she mouthed something. Maybe I'm sorry, maybe why me? I just nodded. Some debts are beyond words. Over time, the land started to heal. The county used grant money, some of it from Natalie's fines, to turn the ruined road into a wetland restoration project. Hired me as a consultant, funny enough. I helped rebuild what they tried to pave. The frogs came back first, then the herons. Neighbors were quieter now. Some apologized. Thought you were just stopping progress, they'd say. I'd shrug. I was stopping the wrong kind. Every morning I'd walk the marsh, coffee in hand, drone buzzing overhead, watching the land mend itself, water flowing free, reeds stretching tall again. That was the real victory. A year later, the county held a memorial. People laid flowers, remembered what was lost, homes, certainty, that illusion that we're in control. I spoke briefly. 16 months ago, they called this land useless. Now it's the only thing that saved us. Nature doesn't take sides, it just responds. The question is, are we willing to listen? That evening, I stood on the new boardwalk built low and wide out of recycled wood. Watched a heron glide over the water, the surface reflecting a sky scrubbed clean. And I realized the flood didn't just sweep away asphalt and ego. It washed away the fantasy that you can cheat the land and get away with it. I guess if I learned anything, it's this: progress without respect collapses always. You can't outvote physics. You can't bulldoze wisdom into a wetland and expect gratitude. Protect what protects you. Stand your ground even when it's just mud and frogs and memories. Because in the end, when the storm comes, and it will, you'll be glad you listened. Now I've got to ask, if you were standing where I stood, knowing what you know, now would you have done anything differently? Do you think justice should come from the courts? Or is there something to be said for the way nature balances the books herself? Share your thoughts. Or if you've ever tangled with an HOA or karma, let's hear those stories. I'll be reading.